Okay, so we are on through day three of World Aviation Festival.
You've survived.
It's early, so it's quite quiet behind us.
Yeah.
People are still coming in from probably a late night, maybe.
Probably.
Actually, this is true of my guest on this particular interview, Stephen Greenway, who's the CEO of Flyadeal. You've just come into the show today, so you haven't.
Arrived last night and came in today, so
okay,
I'm doing the midnight shift.
Yeah, so I can't ask you about the show because you haven't been here yet. But what are you expecting to get out of it today?
I've always attended the World Aviation Festival. Its genesis actually was low-cost carriers only.
That's right. Yeah,
many years ago, and it's progressed since then and moved around, UK and so forth.
Yeah.
But my expectation, what I come for these is I'm not overly ambitious. I just want to walk away with one little gem that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And if I do that, that's a great thing. But I typically only come for one day. I've back-to-back meetings all day, and I can kill off a lot of stuff that means I don't have to travel as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So everyone's in the same room. So that's very, very helpful.
So you said it used to be. I said it used to be a low-cost event.
It did, yeah.
It's evolved into this much bigger event.
It used to be at the Sofitel Terminal 5 at Heathrow for a while. Yeah. And it was just a great and good.
My first experience was in Islington in the design centre.
It moved over to the design centre.
And it was big then. But
it was big then.
It's gone.
I quite liked it back then because everything was, it was a smaller venue and it just made things like, it was much more of a hustle, if that makes sense. It was good.
But that is obviously the relevance to you guys at Flyadeal. So just tell us about Flyadeal, just as a sort of intro, the airline, how you're operating, what's what's going on at this.
So we're one of three carriers within Saudi Arabia. Saudia, everyone knows, there's Flyadeal, which is part of Saudia. So Saudia Group is actually 9 companies, 2 airlines, Saudia, ourselves, ground handling, catering, etc., etc., etc. And then a third airline, which is FlyNAS, and soon to be joined by Riyadh Air as well. So there's 4 airlines in the kingdom. Well, will be 4 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
In terms of our own operation, 42 aircraft. We were 40 only last week, and we had 2 deliveries.
Okay.
Heading up to 100 aircraft in the next 3 to 4 years.
What's your fleet mix then?
Only 320s at the moment. 321s start coming next year, and then the 330s to start our long-haul low-cost venture comes in 2027.
Yeah.
So I suppose the headline would just be LCC and growth.
Yeah.
We're an LCC, absolutely, but we have a huge growth profile over the next couple of years.
Yeah. On the fleet and the engines you run, so with the well-documented issues with all the suppliers and so on, how's that impacting you today? Are you seeing some light at the end of the tunnel on sort of getting back to some sort of normality or some sort of predictability?
I wish. I don't think anyone has sort of said, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's very faint.
Okay.
The other thing that we have to contend with operating in the Middle East is the engines have half-lives, basically. Well, the airframes as well. So
yes, really half.
It's the engines on wing are typically half of what you would say find in Europe or North America or what have you. So that's very problematic for us. Obviously, enhanced maintenance and so forth, just all around, just because of the conditions that we operate in and so forth. So that really takes its toll and exacerbates the issue. Everyone talks about supply chain and what have you. Just exacerbates the issue because you're chewing through engines more, chewing through parts more. And if you've got a supply chain issue, which we have since COVID and what have you, it really does cause backlogs and so forth. And so I said that we had a fleet of 42 aircraft. We actually have 6 or 7 aircraft on the ground at the moment, being maintained. So we're catching up. In fairness, we didn't have any of that over the summer because that's the time you make money. But come winter, we're grounding aircraft so we can catch up on the work and so forth.
Yeah. And so the maintenance side of the supply chain is one thing, but there's also the issue around having the right human resource as well in maintenance.
Yeah.
How the Middle East has got some very big MRO companies in the area. How are you coping with that? Making sure you've got the right skills.
Well, I think first and foremost, a lot of airlines, particularly LCCs, they outsource catering, they outsource maintenance, they outsource a range of functions. I think the interesting thing that's happening now is you speak to any LCC, and they're reevaluating that. They're reevaluating and saying, what can we have or exert more control over, be in more control of our destiny.
Bring things in-house, you think?
Yeah, sort of stuff like that. I mean, we've started a bit of that. We haven't gone full stretch. A good example would be we have to do in the region of about 40 to 50 engine changes a year at the moment.
Okay.
And so we have a line that's our own in Riyadh that does that for us. We decided that this was absolutely critical to keep the airline going. We didn't want to outsource this. We bought all the equipment necessary to be able to do this, and we do our own engine changes as an example.
Yeah.
And we're looking at other areas to explore in terms of how we do that. But the supply chain issues themselves, this is not going away for another 3 to 5 years. Anyone who thinks that somehow next year, surprise, everything's working again, forget it.
Is it even 3 to 5 years? Is it now just not the new normal? And you have to just change the way you process.
Maybe I'm a bit hopeful. I hope it's not the norm because I don't think anyone, the I don't think anyone can, in the long term, anticipate that somehow this is going to keep on going on like this. You know, access to spare engines, access to parts, all of this type of stuff. But I think we're in it for at least another 3 to 5 years, and it's making us and others reevaluate. In terms of resourcing, actually blessed. If you talk about Saudi Arabia as an example, the government invests heavily in its own people. So you're getting a lot of technicians, you're getting a lot of pilots, et cetera, coming through the system. So it's not so much the manpower, it's more access. As an example, hangar space. There's simply not enough hangar space these days. I'm having to do, as an example, engine changes out in the open because I can't get hangar space.
Wow, okay.
Right? And so there's choke points in different parts. You would go to North America and you would say it's actually the people. We're not having enough people coming through. In the Middle East, it's hangar space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's depending on where you are, it's different challenges.
Yeah, we ran our predictive aircraft maintenance conference in Singapore a few weeks back. One of the issues that was talked about there was access to parts.
Yes,
and actually, weirdly, or not weirdly, it's understandable, but in an environment where parts are very hard to come by, there's also the problem people are hoarding parts because they're difficult to come by.
And we're guilty of this.
So it exacerbates the issue. What's the answer there? There's a few guys there who have these almost Amazon-style marketplaces for parts, and say, well, let's share parts maybe. If you don't need something, don't just sit on it. So you do need it. I mean, I don't see how that entirely works, but
no,
there's a principle you can see that's possibly that would help, and at least
I think the principle a lot of airlines are following is saving it for a rainy day. I think it's your comments are completely logical. I won't challenge them at all. All I will say is that as a CEO, I've got to keep the show on the road, and at the moment, that's one of the behaviours is hoarding. And there's a downside to that because you're carrying stock, you're carrying costs. It's on your P&L that you normally wouldn't have because you've got ready supply. You've got constant, reliable supply. That's not the case, and so that behaviour is, I believe, well ingrained in the industry at the moment. So what you're saying is logical, but try to convince someone like me. It's like, no, I'll do a favour and give you share a part to someone or something. I'll never get the bloody thing back. And then one of my aircraft will go tech, and I'm missing the part. So it's illogical. I get it, but this is where we're at the moment. This is the behaviours that are coming out.
Which engines do you tend to run then?
We're on the CFM LEAP. I would say the better of the
exactly.
two.
Probably in a good.
So we're lucky in that. I look at Wiz, and I think I read the other day was 25% of their fleet is grounded because of the engines. And they're working in a benign environment. They're in they're in Europe. They're not in the Middle East. So very, very thankful we've got the CFMs, and that faint glimmer of hope that I spoke about is I do see progress with CFM in terms of durability, and we're working extensively with our local regulator GACA to have increased on-wing time for the engine. So we're constantly getting that improvement in terms of on-wing time and the number of cycles the engines can go through, which is good. So there's a glimmer of hope there.
Talk to us about Saudi Arabia and the aviation sector in Saudi. You mentioned Riyadh Air is very much coming on, and they're very excited about what they will be doing and how they're operating.
Launching flights, I think, at the end of the month.
That's right. I think there was an announcement this week, wasn't it?
Yesterday.
What in general for the kingdom, obviously aviation's are very high on their priority list. We're going to see some big airports being built and major facilities there. So what part does Flyadeal play in that, and what is the vision for Saudi in aviation?
I think first of all, it's refreshing that a government is embracing aviation, whereas you go to other parts of the world like Holland and it's being demonised. Look what's going on with Schiphol with capacity cuts and caps and what have you, and taxes and what have you. So like Singapore, I used to work and so forth. It's really refreshing that the kingdom recognises the importance of aviation, its contribution to the economy, but it also ticks a lot of other boxes. So as an example, they want tourism to be, as part of their Vision 2030, tourism to be contributing 10% of GDP by 2030. You can't do that without a reliable aviation sector that's bringing tourists in and people in for pilgrimage or whatever the case may be. And that's really the crux of it in terms of our role, is we're an enabler for 2030. And you're seeing a lot of projects, airports, etc., coming online or coming on stream over the next couple of years that will support that. And we just underpin it. We're providing that A to B cheaply in our role, A to B cheaply like a bus. I mean, it's not glamorous, but that's our role. We're providing that choice and stimulating the market where people couldn't fly before because the price point was too high. And that is our key role, is that.
We met the other week at T2RL Engage in London, and Riyadh Air spoke there very early on in one of the keynotes. the excitement there is this is an airline that is native digital. It's not starting on legacy. It's decided to do things in the modern way, which everyone's sort of moving towards.
Yes.
What's your assessment of where the industry is in terms of moving into that modern retailing age? This show is a lot about revenue management, AI, and how that can help. But is the industry now moving fast in that direction? Do you think? Are you doing it yourself?
I don't think so. I think, look, AI is certainly the next industrial revolution. How it lands and so forth, I don't think anyone has the answer to it. But in that perspective, there's a lot of hype. Just as the e-commerce boom back in the late noughties and 2000s, huge amount of hype. Everyone's doing AI. And you've got to weed out the stuff that actually works versus the stuff that doesn't work. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't work. Number one. Number two is, these conferences live on this type of this conversation or topic. 5 years ago it was about blockchain. As an example, blockchain was going to save the world. Okay. And before that was X, Y, and Z. What I would say is that, I talk about reality. Reality is, if you look at our airline domestically, from point A to B, Riyadh or Jeddah or everything, we're very much a digital airline, digital native, call it what you will. Most of the bookings come through mobile app. Most people do their interaction, customer service through their mobile app, etc., etc. But the reality is, tell that to a 85-year-old pilgrim from Indonesia who doesn't speak English and doesn't have a phone. And we carry thousands of them to the kingdom every year, or Bangladesh, or what have you. So we're almost like I won't say bipolar, but you sort of a black and white airline. You've got over here, you've got digitally native and tick, and we're pushing through a lot of advancement. But on the other side, we carry millions of pilgrims to the kingdom every year, and they need to be handled in a different way. They're typically coming in with a tour operator. They have a physical visa. They have to do X, Y, and Z to get into the country to do their pilgrimage. And all of that is manual, and that's not going away anytime soon. So you're having to...
You can only move as fast as your customer allows you.
100%. I can't force them to check in via a mobile app. They have to check in as a group because the visas need to be checked and triaged. So that's sort of where I'm coming from. Yes, there's a lot of noise over here and some progress, and I do see airlines, really pushing that digital stream and what have you. But equally, a lot of airlines have this baggage that's not going to go away anytime soon, which is they have to be more practical and hands-on and sometimes paper-based and so forth. You have to do that. As an example, we just went live on GDS in terms of Amadeus. Why? It's still big business in the Middle East, So either I turn my nose up at it and say, oh, no, I'm only mobile or what have you, or and leave money on the table, or I start distributing via Amadeus and GDS, and that's what we're doing. It's turned out to be a good success.
It's like the adoption of all tech goes through this S-curve, doesn't it? So AI currently we're in this sort of boom. It can do everything, so overhyped.
Yes, correct.
And they'll go like blockchain was a great example because no one talks about blockchain.
No,
and yet it is around still.
There's
companies
around.
Here today.
There's plumbing
doing
in there.
Blockchain, and it's happening.
It's all the boring stuff no one's talking about anymore.
It's just in that boring adoption phase where everyone's sort of moved on to something else now. So
it has, but I also think that blockchain is now an important part of a lot of different things, but. It didn't do the step change that everyone thought it would. It's actually
not revolutionary, really.
It's not revolutionary. It's critical to plumbing and all of this type of stuff, but it didn't do that step change that everyone thought. Right, okay. I think AI has the potential to do that in the next couple of years, but at the moment, a lot of it's very immature. And I always find it funny. You'll get a university dropout 19-year-old who comes in and says, well, I've built an AI tool that will run your operation. It's like, well, what experience in airlines do you have? Oh, nothing, but the tool will work it out. It's like, no.
I don't think we can risk that.
Exactly.
It's not, and this is an industry that doesn't take risks. And so in actual fact, it is one of the best tests for new technology because the wiggle room is zero, really. You can't go wrong.
Correct.
So if it's going to work, it's going to work in aviation.
Well, I'll give you an example, weight and balance. I get a lot of people coming and approaching us and saying we have an AI tool for weight and balance and all this type of stuff or what have you. But all of that is heavily regulated. We need a certified aircraft dispatcher in our operating center to be able to dispatch an aircraft. There is no legislation at the moment that says, oh, AI can take over or anything like that. Now, maybe that will change over the next couple of years, but there's no jurisdiction to my understanding that's letting that happen at the moment because there's so much control, there's so much regulation and so forth. So that's true.
You've got to bring the regulators with you at the same time as well.
And that will take time. It's not an overnight thing. You're talking years. You're not talking days or months.
Our time's nearly up, but you weren't here yesterday, but someone you'll know well in the industry, Willie Walsh, was on stage yesterday.
Oh, Willie.
Typically Willie.
He speaks his mind.
He definitely does do that, and he's also very much on behalf of the airlines, which
everyone in the background going.
That's his job, and he's paid to do that, and fair enough. But he does, and he says this every year when he comes here. He points out what he considers to be the unfairness in terms of the airlines are meant to be taking on all the cost of decarbonising.
Yeah.
Fuel companies aren't doing. They're passing that. Everyone's trying to pass the cost on to the airlines. It seems to do decarbonising, and other areas as well. It's not just decarbonising. Is he right in that maybe there needs to be a sort of a more collaborative ecosystem approach to some of these really major challenges that the industry is facing?
Well, I'm biased, of course. If you talk about sustainability as an example, like carbon tax or what have you, my view, or sustainable fuels, my view is there shouldn't be the stick; it should be a carrot approach.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing from a lot of governments is random percentages that you need to achieve and mandates. I don't think that does any good for adoption.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't do anything good for your cost base or whatever the case may be. So I think he's actually spot on that. If I just push that aside, just in general, one thing that always grates me is we have at Flyadeal an equivalent of one SAR fare. So think of it £1 or $1 equivalent. So we're not making any money on that. Okay. So, and we sell, the last sale that we had was 1 million seats. Okay. Think about the whole ecosystem. Everyone else continues getting paid at the same rates. The whole ecosystem profiteers and typically double digit and everything like that. But I'm the one who is putting that fare out there so everyone enjoys the upside, if that makes sense, enjoys the volume or what have you. Yeah. And that always grates on me. The model's never going to change, but I think if you're talking about how equity and you're talking about sharing the load and so forth, the airline is the core. Airports won't function, ground handlers won't function. They don't see the dollar fare. They see full rate, what they charge me. They see profits. But I'm the one who's having to go out there and do that all the time. And I think that is lopsided. But that's not going to change. That's the airline industry. It is what it is. I'll have my beef and complaint, but I'll take that one.
It's incredibly hard work putting these things in the air. It doesn't happen by miracles. It is a miracle.
Always say, we barely scratch out a single-digit profit margin. Yet all the ecosystem does very nicely.
Exactly.
And so, but let's see if some of that changes.
Yeah, Stephen, look, thanks for joining us today. I know you've got a busy day of meetings ahead of you, so I hope you enjoy the day in Lisbon.
Thank you very much
for joining us.
Too short. Thank you.
Okay, so you join us on the quantum metric stand, which is their own fuselage.
Yeah, our private jet.
I'm speaking to Efrat Ravid, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at Quantum Metric. Efrat, thanks for talking to us today at World Aviation Festival. Day 3. It's been busy. You're really near the entrance. You really need one of the main stages, so you're in a busy plot.
Yes, we are in the best position.
Yeah, I know yesterday you did a session with Lufthansa.
It's Vueling.
Vueling, okay.
Yeah.
And it was all about personalization and retail. This is what you do as a company. You are a technology and data analytics company, okay, at heart. So tell us what it is that you do that the airlines need to grasp and are talking to you about this week at World Aviation Festival.
Absolutely. So we are very excited to be here I feel it like with all our best friends. 8 of the biggest 10 airlines is our customers.
Okay.
And what we help airlines is really improve their customer experience. Their customer wants to book flight, cancel flight, change flight, book their seat, buy additional things on the website, check in, check out, and do all of this digitally.
Yeah.
The airlines want to build this loyalty because they want customer to come back. And we help them to really understand why their customer or where they're struggling, why they're struggling, what to do in order to make their digital experience in kiosk, in their mobile, in their app, and in the website fluid.
Yeah, and expectations are being driven by not aviation, I guess. It's an issue, but it's a good issue in the sense that things are getting better for consumers outside of the aviation sector when they use Amazon, when they use the likes of Uber, these digital native companies who have just transformed the experience. And that's what aviation or airlines are trying to emulate because the expectation is set, and if you underperform, it does have an impact on bottom line. It does have an impact on revenue.
Absolutely. So if we talk about Generation Z, if you have kids, I don't remember my kids not looking at the mobile and not expecting to do everything from the mobile. But even us, we know that 38%, we actually did a mobile research recently, and 38% of consumer in a daily basis do something for services on the website, and 33% at least once a week.
Yeah.
So yes, expectation is what Amazon, one click and I can buy it, right? So why to buy a flight take me longer? Why to change a seat? Why to cancel? Why if there is a weather issue, I need to, the same expectations, the same people, the same generation, especially Generation Z that are TikTok, they want to do everything, right?
Yeah.
On the digital with no friction. They just want to do it and expect it. And if it's not, they're getting frustrated.
Always the debate around this area in aviation is that airlines aren't moving quickly enough into this area. Clearly, look, there's a cost to doing it. They have to find the money to invest in this kind of thing if they're going to do it well. And they've got so much other priorities, like getting the aircraft into the air safely and getting people from A to B. That has to be the number one priority. So what's pushing airlines to find the investment to do this kind of thing today? Because I guess, look, it's not like selling an item of clothing online. If I want to go from A to B, I've only got a certain number of choices to get from A to B on that particular route. So I'm not in the market for the whole of the airline industry. I'm just maybe there's a couple of competitors.
Yeah.
So there's not that kind of competitive push to be really great at this. So what is it that's really pushing the airline industry into this area?
It's such a good question, because you're actually asking me, what is the alternative for the customer?
Yeah.
If they have to do it, let's frustrate them until the end and let them do it. So there are a few things. One is all the airlines in the last 3 days talk about being efficient, right?
Yeah.
They cannot overhead. If you're trying to do something and cannot do, what you're going to do? Call the consultant, do the check.
Yeah.
This is a very expensive thing for the airline. It's frustrating to the consumer, but it's also very expensive.
Yeah.
We actually, with Quantometric, once it happened, you tried to cancel a flight, you didn't succeed to do it, you went to call the call center, then you need to explain them what you need to do, right? Hi, I tried to do it. You wait for 10 minutes, and you need to explain them how frustrated you are.
Yeah.
With Quantometric, since we record everything that happened, with our Gen AI, immediately the agent get a summary. This consumer tried to do the cancel. He did the XYZ. This is the browser is using. This is a mobile version he used. This everything he used, and this is why he didn't succeed. This is what we recommend you to say.
Yeah.
So one of our airline in the US just attested it takes a third of the time for the agent now to take care of the consumer because of that. Yeah. So I'm talking about efficiency.
So the rationale is a cost saving. It may be revenue generating, but that's not the key thing here. It is an efficiency and a cost saving and a better experience for the customer, who's then maybe more likely to come back.
They are more likely to come back. Loyalty is the most important thing to airline. We heard it all this week. Why loyalty? 68% of consumer, this is part of the mobile research we did, so 68% of the users say, we will book only with airline we have loyalty there. Yeah. Loyalty program, super important. The last thing you want to do is frustrate your customer. It's actually clearly to the bottom line of them. And also conversion. We know that traffic went down because everything happened right now with GEO and agentic. And if you have the traffic, and bringing traffic is very expensive, again, because of everything that's happening. So conversion is key. And with Quantometric, we help our customer increase the conversion, not only in buying the seats, but also in selling accelerators, right? To upgrade them. You want to upgrade them to buy the seat. You want to upgrade them to buy the right seat, or the right premium economy business, right? Meal, drinks. Now you can buy everything, and there is a huge opportunity for increasing the revenue and the bottom line if you make the flawless experience to your customers.
So no doubt, as a company, you're also always developing your technology, looking what's coming in the future.
Yes.
Everyone's talking AIs as we can't move around here.
So
AI being mentioned, agentic as well.
So generative AI is, we're working already. We have Felix AI that gives you summarization of where your customer get frustrated. And what is super cool is that if I have one customer frustrated, sometimes the board person said, I tried to book, it didn't work. You worked so hard to find this session and see what it worked, why it didn't work. So you solve one person problem.
Yeah.
But you want to know what's the impact of it in the entire business. How many people like this person actually suffer from exactly the same issue? Because in the end of the day, all of them have 10,000 things they need to fix. How do they know where to prioritize? So we actually give the quantification, not only how many people it is that have the same problem, but how much it's actually going to impact the bottom line of the business, which is always Gen AI. Yeah. And what is really interesting is agentic. You asked me about agentic. So this is actually, it's in the oven. We are cooking on it as we speak. Yeah. And we are planning to have the idea of, you want to know how my business is doing today. You want to ask all these business questions, and you don't want to spend time on looking at dashboard. You don't want to do analytics. Yeah. Who has the time to look at charts right now, right? Okay. And this is what agentic will give you an answer. You will be able to ask how my campaign is doing, how my process is doing, and immediately you get the answer. If you have challenges, you get the issues where your challenges, how it's compared to last year, how it's compared to last month, and what you need to do, and why people are struggling, and what you need to do to fix, all in a very clear summary, no more wasting time on analytics.
So this agentic transforms the way people do business in their businesses and the B2B side of it. You started off by saying about the Gen Z always on their phone, and in the agentic world, that may change as well, because they won't need to be always looking at their phone. Yes. This will be happening in the background on their behalf almost.
Yeah,
so we're facing a whole new paradigm, aren't we, where maybe even looking at screens will be considered to be quite archaic. You know,
or maybe just talk to the phone and say, book my flight back to San Diego, and immediately it will ask me how much you want to pay, and it will happen. And for that to happen, when agent will speak to agent, a product like Quantimetric will be so much more crucial, because with human being, as you ask me, what happens if it doesn't work? You will book the flight anyway, right? Yeah. But the agent won't be able to do all the walk around and call the call center and see what it works. It just will fail. Yeah. Yeah. And with this, with companies, with product like Quantimetric, you will have to know where the agent fail, why they fail, and what they need to do to fix it.
Yeah. There's a stream here this week on irregular operations. So that's, when things do go wrong, because they're always going to go wrong in aviation. It's just the nature of it, isn't it?
Sure.
And actually, the consumer kind of accepts that, I guess. They understand that the world is never 100%. It's actually how you react to it that is the key. And actually, if you react to a bad situation and make it better, or actually, mitigate it entirely, that you can drive loyalty through that. They'll go, this company looks after me. It did a great thing. It didn't frustrate me further. So again, I guess your technology also helps with that. It allows some predictability of the future, doesn't it? In an unpredictable world.
Absolutely. I ask my customers, like, what is the real value you get from Quantimetric? The one thing, you're so right. They tell me, you help us become proactive. Yeah. Instead of waiting for things to fail, and only when a customer complains, understand what to do, and then maybe communicate to the rest of the customer. Before the customer actually sees that something failed, monitor my business very closely, see where there might be failure, where are breakdowns, and actually fix it.
Yeah. So that proves we're in a real conference, because there's a very noisy announcement. But we're coming to the end of this now, but you've been here for nearly 3 days now. It's been busy, I think, the last 2 days in particular. Yes. What's the general feeling? You've spoken to probably lots of airlines. What impression do you get about where they are in their journey into this sort of more digital world?
I feel the airlines are in an amazing place where they can be innovation. We can talk to a lot of head of innovation in almost every big airline, and they are so excited about Gen AI, agentic, how they're going to do the right thing for their consumer and for their customer, how they increase loyalty, all with the right technology. And we are so proud to be part of it. As I mentioned, we are part of the 8 of the 10 biggest airlines. We have a lot of small airlines working with us, and we love working with them. It's such a pleasure to see how much they actually deeply care about their customer, about the technology, about how to bring it all together. It's just amazing.
Yeah, looks like an exciting future. Look, thanks for inviting us onto your private jet.
Absolutely.
For a quick chat. Good to see you. When we'll see you again.
Let's
Thank you
take
very
off
much.
together.
Thank you. Okay, so you now join us on the stand for Moment. Here in day 3 at World Aviation Festival in Lisbon. Micahel is with me. He is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Moment. They're a Paris-based company specializing in onboard connectivity and entertainment. You'll tell us more about that in a minute. Yeah, but why don't you start with that, Michael? You're called Moment. You have, we'll talk about this kit in a minute, but you have 3 key pillars in the business. What are they?
So Moment provides entertainment, connectivity, and e-commerce solutions to the aviation industry.
Okay.
We do have 130 million passengers using our system every year.
Yeah.
And we have several key customers in this industry, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. You're growing. Last year, we'll talk about this in a minute. You had an acquisition around the entertainment side of things, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what we've got in front of us, the hardware.
Okay. Yeah.
What is this? What's in front of us here? And we'll move on to talk about this one.
As I mentioned, we are providing different solutions to the aviation industry.
Yeah.
We started a few years ago with the Flamingo box, which perfectly suits the needs of airlines, which are some aircraft unequipped or willing to not invest too much, having an offline solutions, enabling the passenger to enjoy their journey watching movies on a streaming with the streaming platform.
Okay.
So this is the Flamingo box.
Flamingo.
Yeah,
as in the
Flamingo.
bird. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
The box. And then we move to this brand new solution, which is the Flamingo Connect solution.
Right.
Enhancing the solution towards connectivity. So perfectly suit the needs of airlines which are willing to, who have connectivity or willing to get connectivity in the future. So you invest in that product, you got an offline environment, the state of the art of the entertainment solutions.
Yeah.
And in the future, whatever is the type of the connectivity, the antenna you get, then you can make the bridge and spread the signal into the cabin text to that solution.
This one. So this is kind of a next generation. This is where the future. This is the future.
This is basically the future for connectivity.
Yeah.
And this is still a very appreciated product.
Yeah.
Because it can be deployed in few weeks. It's a standalone product.
Yeah.
And it goes fast.
Yeah. The limitations of this are that everything
everything
what's
is
in here is in there. That's
exactly.
it. And I think this demonstrates what you get as a customer. But there's no flexibility in once it's in there, that's all you get. That's your IFE is in there. With this one, it gives an airline a much greater degree of flexibility to personalize the experience.
Exactly. So thanks to connectivity, we can do a wide range of things, and we'll talk later. But it's one of also the reason why we acquire Airfree for the future.
Yeah. Well, let's get straight into that.
Yeah. So just before that, as a complementary, for that, there is a big need in the aviation industry right now is about the connectivity portals.
Yeah.
And thanks to our software and digital experience that we have, we are able to answer the needs of several airlines who has 2, 3, 4 connectivity providers with 3, 4 portals. So Moment came as to unify the experience, providing one single connectivity portal.
Right.
And no matter what is the connectivity provider behind, then the airline can offer a seamless experience, no matter what the aircraft.
So it's kind of future-proofed.
Yeah,
we know there's things going on with LEO, GEO, with satellites, etc. But this will work, whatever in the future.
Exactly.
To finish on this box, I know it's about to be in the air. It's all certified and ready to go.
Exactly.
You can't tell me who is going to have it, unfortunately, because it's embargoed. But one day we'll know. But it is going to be flying.
In a few weeks, it's going to be installed in a legacy period in Europe.
Okay.
It's going to be installed, so obviously flying early next year, in January.
And how many units are going to be? They fly.
15 aircraft will be equipped.
15.
Yeah.
Okay, and Embraers
and B737.
Okay. So let's move on to you referenced the acquisition from last year of the company that's on the side here called Airfree. What does Airfree do?
So Airfree, it's a unified marketplace, offering the capability of the airline to generate new streams of revenues, and also providing to the passenger a seamless marketplace experience all over the journey. So being able, thanks to the connectivity, thanks to this solution, being able to purchase products, services on a kind of one-stop shop portal, and being able to get delivered wherever they want around the world.
Sure.
Either at the boarding gates area, at the hotel, before the way back at home.
Yeah. And so that gives you, for the airline, they can literally retail anything.
Exactly.
It just gives the platform to enable them to do that. So,
and the big interest for that is that you will not being able only to sell what is available on board the aircraft.
Yes, yes, of course.
Whatever are the products or services you are willing to sell.
Anything that's deliverable, really.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So it turns that screen that you're sitting in front of for, well, anything between 2 and 15 hours, turns it into a retail experience, essentially.
It's a pure retail experience. Unified in a one marketplace. And offering a wide range of services to the airline. And it's obviously airlines are really willing to get new streams of revenues right now. And all about services and products sold on board the aircraft are an important way of monetizing that.
Yeah, and you find that you've probably spoken to a number of airlines this week and do so all the time. There's a real appetite for this. Is there an urgency to get it on board so that we can start making revenue out of it?
There is a lot of interest and many airlines. I think we saw several conferences here where there are CFO or COO are experiencing their need to optimize all the costs and generate new streams. And obviously, thanks to the experience that the airlines has generated from many years with the duty-free product, the physical duty-free sale on board the aircraft, they want to increase and improve that experience with a digital platform and opening the doors to a lot of product to be sold.
What's the future for you guys? I'm sure you're not standing still. You're constantly looking to the next generation and using technology for that. So where do you think things are going?
So technology-wise, one of the key points I started to share with you earlier, but this is the connectivity portals. So we are not talking here about products, but all about a solution, a digital solution. You have many legacy carriers. They have 3-4 connectivity provider right now, and with 3-4 different portal. But the airline right now, they want to get a seamless experience, a unified experience, no matter what is the connectivity provider behind that. So Moment intervene as a specialist on the software side, on the digital experience side, to harmonize all these experience and providing one single platform through the entire fleet. So that's going to be one of the key probably solutions needed by the aviation industry in the future, aside with the connectivity, of course.
And do you see this? Every kind of airline is doing this. You've got all the way from the low cost or the ultra low cost, all the way to the to the high end legacy network carriers. They're all looking to do something in this, even if it's different.
Different
adapting
approach.
It to their own needs.
Exactly, different approach, but there is a need. This is where the airline industry wants to go. Different steps, different approach. And I think a Moment has a very interesting position as we are able to address the need for LCC carriers, but also from legacy carriers. So we have a very unique approach on that.
Because once you've got connectivity on board, a customer can use their own device. They don't have to have the device on the back of the seat. And so it gives the low cost carriers the ability to have a more premium experience, I guess.
More premium experience and monetize once again this experience.
Final question before we wrap up. It's nearly the end. I mean, it's sort of lunchtime on day 3. It tends to get a bit quieter from now on in, but it's been a busy couple of days for you.
It was a busy couple of days. We really enjoy and appreciate this fair. It's a great moment to of course to meet all the potential customers that we have. But I don't foresee this event as with this big. The biggest goal that we could reach here is to have to generate a strategic partnership with other providers into the aviation industry. So
it's not just airlines you need to talk to. It's a big ecosystem, isn't it?
Yes,
and so everyone needs to play their part. And this is where they come to sort of get inspired.
And it's much more open than what we could see, for instance, in the ex-Member, where we're in the IFE zone with the airline passenger experience department. Here you meet a wide range of different people, of different providers, and it generates a lot of emulation and interest in partnerships.
Cool. Well, look, thanks for inviting us on the stand.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you again at another event in the future, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Cheers.